You get the phone call that you're going to be fighting in MSG in New York City. What was your initial reaction?
Enthusiasm. I was super excited, and I didn't even listen for who the opponent could possibly be. I just said yes. It's Madison Square Garden. It's what any fighter who's ever followed boxing, or any fight for that matter, this is where they want to be.
How does this compare to the very first women's fight in the UFC? That's also on your resume as well. Does this kind of is this higher for you? Is that fight with Rousey, even though you didn't get your hand raised that night, still more kind of, I suppose, important for your legacy? How do you feel about the difference between the two situations?
I feel like it's really hard to compare the two. Certainly that was history in the making, and there's nothing that can really compare to that. But again, this has so many roots for me. My family's from New York City, and so now to come back, and I knew with boxing how big of a deal it was to fight Madison Square Garden. So I really can't compare the two, because that was history in the making, but it was Staples, not really that big of a deal, and then here I am at Madison Square Garden. So to compare the two, they're both going to have special places in my heart and history for me.
Since you arrived here in New York, have you had a chance to absorb the energy, seen the billboards, and what's it been like being in the city this week so far?
It's really crazy, because I can remember when I fought against Ronda, and my mom's sending me super excited because she's from New York City, sending me pictures like, "You're up on the billboard, you don't understand, you're in Times Square," and that was a huge deal. And now I'm walking through, I'm passing Madison Square Garden, and I'm seeing it firsthand that I'm fighting here. So it's a huge difference, and it hasn't sunk in yet just how awesome this really is.
Weigh up Caitlin for me. What does she bring to the table? What's the pros, the cons? What's the challenge that you face? And when you close your eyes, how do you see the fight playing out, and how do you see yourself getting your hand raised?
I picture this fight so many different ways, and I always do. Every time I close my eyes, I always my hand in the air. There's no doubt. Whether it be a submission, it be a knockout, I just want fight of the night is the hope, or knockout of the night. Everybody wants that bonus, but I want to ring out this fight, making sure that first fight of the night doesn't compare to any other one that comes after it. And the benefit is that she's a talented fighter that's going to help put on and showcase for this fight that I know we'll be able to do that.
I want to get some predictions from you. Co-main event, Wonder Boy versus Tyron Woodley for the welterweight championship. Who you got and how?
I always play Switzerland when it comes to playing, because I honestly feel like when I think somebody's going to get it, they surprise me every single time. And the one thing I know, talking to all the fighters and seeing the work they put in, is that nobody's going out there to be a slouch. Nobody's going out there to not put on the best performance of their life. So even if the mistakes they were making before, nobody's going to make those again. So it's really hard to predict when you're going to see the best version of everybody here.